Hi. Greetings from Wisdom Lord Raphael. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification icon and don't miss any contents. This is the light novel of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. If you haven't watched previous video, I will leave the link on the description box, or you can click here. Let's start. This is Tensura Light Novel Volume 16. Tensura Light Novel. Volume 16. The End of the Game. Chapter 2. Interviews. Beretta's Evolution. After listening to CL's explanation, I got a general idea of what had changed in everyone. With Michael and the Phantom King as our enemies, it was necessary to get stronger. However, that did not mean that we should grant the strongest power to just everyone. Excessive power can lead to its own destruction. I trusted CL on that point. While it was still so fond of remodeling skills, I didn't think it was going to do anything too unreasonable. It didn't think it would give skills to those who wouldn't be able to use them, but it seemed necessary to confirm it. As I was thinking about this, CL asked me, as if it suddenly remembered something. By the way, Master's skill alteration has been put on hold. Would you like to execute it? I'd forgotten all about it. CL seemed to be getting restless. It's like it had been searching for something and had finally come up with an even more awesome modification. As I recall, it had said that, by merging the ultimate skill Storm King Veldora and Covenant King Uriel, it could create the ultimate skill Stellar Wind King Hastur. Or something like that. But afterwards, I gave away Covenant King Uriel to Velgrund, so it should have been modified in a different way now. Because it was CL, it was unlikely to be weaker than before. In the first place, although I had not heard or received any report, it probably had already analyzed Charity King Rigel, right? Of course. Just as I thought. In that case, it was equivalent to having 6 ultimate skills. In addition to this, I had also been offered power from the food chain through the evolved executives, which meant that CL needed to harvest King Shub-Niggurath. A larger number of skills does not mean that they can all be mastered, so it made sense to integrate them. I was thinking that Scorch King Velgrund and Gluttonous King Beelzebub could be combined to create something. I was also a little concerned about what had happened to the Wisdom King Raphael after CL was born. If CL wanted to optimize the pile of skills saved up, then I had no reason to stop it. We're not in a battle right now, so I don't see a problem. Okay, in that case I'll leave it to you then. Why? Got it. It will be implemented immediately. I was about to say wait, but it was already too late. In retrospect, I was a man who repeatedly made mistakes. Always ignoring the consequences and regretting it. Why was it so easy to give permission? I shouldn't have left it to go without knowing what kind of terrifying modifications it would make. However, CL, who was already well prepared, initiated the skill alteration as quickly as possible, probably anticipating that I would try to stop it. The end result was CL humming and feigning deafness with a "there's no way to stop it already" strategy. Having given permission without paying attention, and then giving panicked attempts to stop things afterwards, that was definitely all within the scope of what CL had envisioned. It agreed at an alarming speed and immediately buried itself in the transformation. In that frozen state, I just kept waiting, and with great momentum. CL was so absorbed in its work that it didn't even reply. I felt a sense of resignation, thinking that I would be surprised at the stuttering results once again. In any case, without CL, I was unable to make any progress in organizing my paperwork. I changed my mind and decided to work on something else. While CL was busy with its work, I decided to have private meetings with the executives. After telling Xian and Diablo about it, they were kicked out of the room, so for the time being, it was just me in the room. Xian also needed to confirm that her men were safe and left without complaining about anything. Diablo was more trouble. He was very persistent, saying that I needed an escort, but in the end, I finally told him, depending on the results of these meetings, I'm considering removing you from your position as secretary. Tensura is strong, beautiful, and suitable for the job, isn't she? After all, I think one needs to be strong to be both a secretary and an escort. Such a half-hearted threat had him leaving in a panic. Phew. Although I had no intention of doing so, he was such an easy man to deal with. He was probably desperately trying to start a battle against the evolved Tensura by now. It is unlikely that Diablo would be defeated, but it would still be a good match. Losing is good medicine, so it's good to feel threatened once in a while. With that, I began using the time to start the interviews. I called in Shuna and asked her to arrange the schedule. From dusk onward, people who were available were called to my room one after another. The first was Beretta. I had promised to talk to him earlier, so he was the first to be called. For these kinds of interviews, the first and the last slots tended to be the most stressful, but in this country, being the first person seems to be considered to be the most honorable. I wasn't quite sure why, but it seemed to be the case as Beretta appeared to be very happy about it. Now, as for your troubles, you shouldn't have to feel worried about your defeat this time. After all, you stopped the enemy's objective, so rather than a defeat, it should be considered a victory. Without anyone having been killed, this could only be described as a big victory. I said this with certainty, but Beretta still looked unhappy. I understand what you mean, but a loss is still a loss. For us dependents of Black, defeat is unbearable. That is to say, even if one agrees that it is a victory on their side, is it still considered a defeat for Beretta himself? Cherries, and Beretta too, are both too serious. If it were me, I would be touting the results as a great victory. Even if it's a small thing, as long as I'm satisfied, even an indirect victory is welcome. By the way, the dependents of Black refer to a lineage of demons. I only recently found out that Beretta was a Black dependent demon with Diablo, the primordial Black, Noir, as the head. Indeed, their weirdness was very similar in some ways. The fact that they both hated to lose, for example, made sense to me. So I could understand Beretta's frustration. However, having said that, there was nothing I could do about it. I had my subordinates awakened as a reward for winning the war, but that was only possible because they had the Demon Lord's seed and were connected to me through a soul corridor. Did Beretta meet those requirements? It's fine. Well, wow, that scared me. CL was absorbed in its own work, but it seemed to have been listening in on our conversation as well. If that was the case, it could also help me with my paperwork. Just for this, there is enough souls to awaken one person. What do you want to do? You've digressed from the story again, haven't you? Weren't things a little better before evolving? Negative. No such fact has been confirmed. No, don't just pretend to downgrade and cheat. But, well, if that's the case. It seems that during the battle with the Imperial Army, more souls were also acquired. If those were used, Beretta's wishes could be fulfilled. Beretta has clearly been working very hard, but I haven't rewarded him. I was a little hesitant to reward Beretta because he is now a subordinate of Ramrus, but Beretta is also an important companion to me. After all, there was also the important mission of protecting Ramrus. I would continue to rely on him, so as a token of my gratitude, I chose to relieve Beretta of his troubles. Of course, there was a limit to what I could do, but from this point on, it would be up to him to make the effort. I understand why you lament your lack of ability. That's why I will grant you more power. I got up from my chair, posed like a great demon lord, and held out my hand to Beretta. Don't forget, I can only help you. Everything is up to you from here on out. With that, I used the 100,000 souls on Beretta and performed the evolutionary ritual. Since I was the one who named Beretta, his path to self-evolution was closed. This ritual may have been a way to take responsibility for that. No way. Beretta, you will evolve in this way too. Please continue to protect Ramrus. Beretta was surprised, but his evolution was completed without any problems. Very much keeping his part as a member of Diablos family, Beretta did not fall into an evolutionary slumber. Incidentally, the status of his evolution was: name, Beretta. Existence point, 1,978,743. Race, Greater Chaos Spirit, Chaos Metalloid. Blessing of the Labyrinth. Title, Guardian of Ramrus. Magic, Dark Magic. Skill, Ultimate Skill Divine Machine King, Deus Ex Machina. Resistance, Physical Attack Nullification, Abnormal Condition Nullification, Mental Attack Nullification, Natural Effects Nullification, Holy Demonic Attack Resistance. That was. Beretta's body had been transformed into the ultimate metal, Hurricane. This was equivalent to mythical grade level, so it made sense that Beretta's existence value was greatly increased. This was the result of the original material, adamantite, absorbing the huge amount of magicules leaked from Beretta. As for the most important skill, it seems that he sacrificed the unique skill Double Crosser and gained the ultimate skill Divine Machine King, Deus Ex Machina. This included Thought Acceleration, Universal Perception, Demon Lord Hockey, Mineral Domination, Geological Manipulation, Inverted Fusion, Spatial Manipulation, and Multi-Layer Barrier. I worked hard. Oh, thank you for your hard work. Or rather, you're always attentive to things that interest you, aren't you? My skills are important, but I guess you won't forget your own interests. It looks like you've messed with his skills as well. So true to CL's style, I couldn't help but think so. Never mind that for a moment rather, Beretta is really amazing. By combining his new powers of mineral domination and earth attribute manipulation, he can now create and manipulate minerals at will. He would need materials, but there is a vault of magical steel in the labyrinth. Since the labyrinth is in contact with the earth, it is also possible to procure a certain amount of minerals. He seems to have acquired this power by evolving his own body into Hurricane. The ability to manipulate the elements, perhaps. Any shape of metal could be freely deformed. He could do whatever he wanted without regard to hardness, so any armor that was not reinforced by magic or aura would be nothing in front of Beretta. What was even scarier than that was the fact that Beretta's own body could be freely transformed at will. It goes without saying that most weapons would not work on Beretta, and he could even turn into something like those stubborn fluid metal guys you see in the movies. Approaching quietly like a slime, entangling his opponent, and suffocating them. It was terrifying just thinking about it. Normally, Beretta looked like a top-quality humanoid doll with spherical joints, but his essence is not the same as his appearance, so one must be careful. Thus, Beretta evolved into what could be called a subspecies of spiritual lifeforms, a fearsome metallic lifeform. Although I had built the doll on a whim, it's really something that it has evolved to this point. While making observations and wallowing in such sentiments, Beretta knelt down before me. I will never forget what Rimuru-sama has done for me. Even if it costs me my life, I will keep your order and see them through. He swore to do so. Although I wanted to tell him not to push himself too hard, that could not be the case if Ramrus was ever in danger. I am sure that Beretta would live up to my expectations, even if there were to be tougher battles ahead. I was also relieved to have Beretta guarding Ramrus. I'm counting on you. I said this to Beretta with a nod. Beretta's troubles were thus resolved. A job well done. I told Beretta to get some rest and let him go back to his post. That's all for today, hope you guys enjoy it. Please check my other videos. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hit the notification icon. And don't miss any updates. Thank you for watching.